Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We are not yet what we shall become, but we are growing toward it." The process is not yet finished, but it is going on. This is not the end, but it is the road. What you're about to hear are some powerful stories about the impact and need of programming in prisons. A lot of times I get a lot of credit for this Restorative Justice Conference, setting up this Restorative Justice Club. But it's not just myself. None of this would be happening without people like you, without people like Tricia Worrell, who decided to step out in courage and faith and do the right thing. It is all of them, and I ask all of you to step out in faith. Because without them, none of these stories that you hear today would be possible. I wouldn't be here today without people like them. I've participated, and I could tell you all the programs I've been in, all the programs that everyone here has talked about, I've been a part of. And each program takes a little bit piece of my heart and makes me better. It makes me want to continue in my mission. People ask me, why do I do what I do? And it's not for myself. It's for the people that you're about to hear in this video. It's for transformation in the prison system. It's for restorative justice, to make whole what we have broken.
In 2010, I got involved with University of Michigan's Prison Creative Arts program. It's a program called Creative Writing. First time in my life I ever recited my poems in front of other people. And I was so nervous, like I was like literally shaking like this reading my poems in front of a group of people. But over like a 12-week program, we recited our poetry in front of the whole compound. And I was the only one that got up there and recited my poetry from memory. And I wasn't shaking like this. I was like, comfortable doing it. So just those students, the way that they interacted with us, they came in with an open mind. They wasn't judgmental. They were coming in to have an experience. And again, whatever they experienced in their short lives, being in the classroom with me, that made my life a whole lot better. The program that I want to talk about now is a program called Shakespeare Behind Bars that I got involved with when I was at Brooks. And so the director, his name is Kurt Tofflin, he gave all of us a package of monologue.
The one that has impacted me the most is two in actuality. The first would be Chance for Life, because it was in Chance for Life that I learned terms such as respect, sympathy, empathy, and integrity. However, they were just loose terms. So the program that affected me the most was the Greyhound inmate experience. In 2012, I became a member of the Greyhound inmate experience. And it was an exciting time. People were telling me about, hey, you'll have a dog in your cell, you have a 24-hour companion, all of these positive things. But no one told me what I would be in for in the inception of grabbing the dog. The animals come right from Alabama, it's right off the racetrack. No one told me that the dogs would be in the condition that they were in. They were abused physically. Some had broken bones. They were terrified. It was in that moment that I realized what empathy meant. Having the opportunity to see suffering similar to the suffering that I caused someone in my face, it touched me. And that had the best impact on me that I could have asked for. Being a part of that program taught me what respect was, empathy, and how to express it.
My mission in life is to right my wrongs, to make a connection with the public, to be a bridge, to bring some healing to this world. I've taken a lot from this world.
And what program has helped you and guided you in this mission?
The restorative justice has been a key role in that for 3 reasons. It's helped me realize inadequacies in the court systems. It's helped me look through the lenses of my victims more thoroughly and through the victims' family members. And what I mean by the court systems is that more restorative justice sessions need to be implemented into sentencing. My case is a prime example of that. I committed the crime. There's no doubt about that. I never took the stand. And because I never took the stand, the victim sitting in the courtroom never got to hear from me. And when it came time for sentencing and they were rightfully allowed to lash out at me, I was not allowed to talk to them. And the inadequacy lies right here, where I wanted to speak to them and apologize for taking the lives of these 2 men, okay? But my attorney instructed me, he said, if you say one word, if you say anything, you'll ruin your appeals and you'll never get out of prison. I didn't say anything. In all these years, I've sat silently. And the silence needs to be broken. The Restorative Justice Program has helped me realize the impact of my crime. It's helped me to look through different lenses. For example, when a video was showed to us about a restorative justice conference, a mediation conference in the UK, I put myself in the shoes of that prisoner sitting there with the victim's mother. And they sat there and cried, and the emotions were high and tense, and she withdrew a bag of her son's ashes and threw it at the feet of this man. And when she did that, I thought about my victims and what my family members had went through. And when she explained what it was like when the police officer came to her door and knocked on the door to tell her that her son's no longer with her, I had to think about how I had been in that same position in terms of I took her son, other sons. And another way in which I've realized I can reach out through the community through restorative justice is that my crime had an impact on other people, not just myself, not just my family, but the many people that were there that day. My crime happened in a public space. There was many people around. And restorative justice has taught me that every one of those people that were there that day are victims, and I damaged them emotionally, psychologically. And these are issues I need to find ways to repair. And I've been doing that. And I have reached out to prosecutors and told them I'm interested in trying to come to some type of mediation to heal, to have a dialogue, to tell my side of the story, and to bring some love into this life. I've taken a lot, and I want to give back however I can to right my wrongs.
One thing I carry with me is my rosary, and it's broken. I could have a brand new one anytime, but I keep this to remind me of my brokenness and all of our brokenness. Activist Mumia Abu Jamal once said, "When a cause comes along and you know in your bones that it is just, yet refuse to defend it or to follow through and carry it out, that is the moment you begin to die." And I died the moment I came to prison. But because of people like Trisha and all the programming, I am now alive. And I ask you to be alive and hear these stories and carry them and take them with you and do something.